Hey friends, it's time. It's time to talk about this dude. And it's been a good 4 months of me prognosticating and predicting and speculating, but all that goes out the window now. We have had the whole awards race laid out in front of us, and it is time to predict the Oscar winners for 2023. It's shaping up to be one of the most exciting Oscar nights we've had in quite some time, because usually the above the line categories are all but sewn up by this time. But three of the four acting races are well and truly alive. Some you might even say are dead heats 50-50. And a lot of the tech categories this year are also looking quite uncertain. So I'm sure we're going to see a lot of surprises, maybe a few upsets. There's some stuff that I think is pretty set in stone, but yeah, let's get into it. I often pride myself on trying to nail a few of those left field picks, but today I mostly agree with what the other pundits are saying. So there's not going to be anything crazy here, but I'm going to go through my predictions for what I think will win, what I think could win, and then what I think should win, my personal picks, because I'm an attention seeker and this video is all about me. But yeah, without further ado, these are my full Oscar predictions for all 23 categories. For Best Picture, now, I don't need to spend a whole lot of time on this because I think even people who aren't really into predicting Oscars know that Everything Everywhere All at Once is a huge frontrunner right now. So yes, that is going to be my prediction for a number of reasons. It's won most of the precursors that it needed to. Didn't win the Globe and it didn't win the BAFTA, two bodies that were clearly not as high on the film as everyone else. But then breaks the record for most wins at SAG, and we know how important SAG Ensemble is now for Best Picture, winning 4 out of the 5 movie SAG awards, which has never been done before. One Best Picture at Critics' Choice, did obscenely well there, and dominated the guilds, winning a lot of technical guilds for a film that wasn't initially thought of as a big technical player in stuff like maybe makeup and editing and costumes and stuff, but it's winning most of those guilds. It has outperformed at every step of the way, including with the Oscar nominations, and any sort of backlash that people might have expected just has not come. And yes, I'm sure there will be some older voters who don't really care for it, but I think that's going to be a really small margin compared to the amount of people who love it and will be voting for it in their top 2 or 3 or even as their number 1. And another thing is it's just hard to identify what the competition is. Usually you've got maybe a clear runner-up, but here there's not. I think there are probably 2 other films that can win, and those are The Banshees of Inisherin and All Quiet on the Western Front. I probably actually lean towards Banshees slightly. I know most people would probably say Western Front is their runner-up because it's hard to judge how Western Front would have done because it didn't enter the race until so late. So it hasn't competed against these films at most of the other guilds and precursors. It only had the BAFTAs where it absolutely dominated. It was their favorite movie ever. And it beat Banshees there, which you could argue, but BAFTA doesn't always get Best Picture right, and I do think Banshees does have a significant amount of love, and but for it to win Best Picture, I think it would probably need to take Screenplay and Supporting Actress for me to really buy it as a Best Picture winner. So Everything Everywhere, a huge frontrunner, and I think it would be one of my favorite Best Picture winners ever because it is what I think should win. It's my favorite movie of the nominees. I think it's a really special movie, a very modern movie, and I'm very, very excited to celebrate this win. Hopefully I'm not jinxing it here, but I'm pretty confident that it's going to be Everything Everywhere. For director, I'm pretty much as certain as Best Picture. It's going to be the Daniels, and I'm excited about that because I put a lot of money on them a while ago, back when people didn't think they were going to win. But yeah, who else is there? I mean, Spielberg won the Globe and he has that legacy pick, but the narrative for the Fabelmans just hasn't taken off the way we initially thought it would. McDonough and Todd Field and even Ostlund, the other 3, they just don't feel like director winners. And they haven't won anything because the Daniels have been winning everywhere. So I feel like this is even more locked in than Best Picture, and I don't really think there's much more to say there. Who do I think? Yeah, Spielberg would probably be my runner-up. And obviously, I agree that the Daniels are the ones who deserve to win. I think this is a pretty weak director lineup. I like all these films, but I just think there were far more interestingly directed films this year, especially the 2 female contenders, Charlotte Wells and Sarah Polley. Their films, I think, are more deserving than everyone besides the Daniels in this category. So pretty disappointing crop of nominees, but hopefully they're going to pick the right winner. Now we get to the hard ones. Best Actress is a genuine 50-50 between Michelle Yeoh and Cate Blanchett. Now, for most of the race, I would have probably said Blanchett has had the edge. She won the Golden Globe drama. She won the Critics' Choice Award despite Everything Everywhere winning Best Picture there. She won the BAFTA. She won a lot of critics awards, but Michelle Yeoh took home the SAG, which is only one thing, and generally the BAFTA lines up more with the Oscar than the SAG does. SAG picks a lot of winners, but BAFTA picks a lot of these close races like they did with McDormand. So I'm kind of just weighing up where I want to align with the BAFTAs and where I don't want to for these. Here, I'm going to align with SAG, and I'm going to be predicting Michelle Yeoh. It really is a 51-49, but I'm basing a lot of this just on momentum, and Everything Everywhere has so much momentum. And momentum has proven to be key in awards races, with people like Yo Jong-yoon bobbing up to win Supporting Actress, or for a film like Coda or Parasite bobbing up. These are films that came up at the last minute. I'm not saying Everything Everywhere came up at the last minute, but it really has cemented itself as a juggernaut at the last precursor awards. Usually BAFTA's before SAG, but SAG came last this year, and Everything Everywhere just had a big celebration at that whole show. So I'm going with Michelle Yeoh based on that, based on, yes, there's a narrative here and how great it would feel to give it to her. I love Cate Blanchett. She is incredible in Tar. But, does she need a third Oscar right now? I mean, in any other year, I'd be saying she does. She's incredible in Tar. But I think Michelle Yeoh is my favorite performance of the two, and I think a lot of people are going to just feel better about voting for her. That being said, it could easily be Blanchett. I thought Yeoh would win the Critics' Choice because they love the film, but Blanchett still took it there, and there are a lot of people who just love that performance, and the Oscars don't care about giving someone too many Oscars, or they don't care if someone has nonchalant attitude toward winning them. Frances McDormand has proved that time and time again. So I think people will be voting for their favorite performance, but I just think a lot of people are going to be really compelled by what Michelle Yeoh does in Everything Everywhere. I'm not reading into anonymous ballots. I only read a few of them, but pretty overwhelming amounts of love for Everything Everywhere pouring out of those from what I've read. But yeah, Yeoh by a hair, but you wouldn't be remiss picking Blanchett either. It could be either of them, and it's going to be a nail biter until the finish. And I think Andrea Riseborough is third place, and she's actually, as for what I want to win, she's my favorite performance in this category, Andrea Riseborough. I do want Michelle Yeoh to win, though. Like, obviously, Riseborough is my favorite performance there. I love her to win, but she's not going to. And out of the big race, I'm really rooting for Michelle Yeoh. I think it would be a huge moment in Oscar history if she can take that gold. But going to be a really interesting race. For Best Actor, we had that three-horse race between Farrell, Butler, and Fraser, but it's kind of really fallen down to two. And for a little while, it was looking like Butler was going to absolutely steamroll it, winning almost every precursor, with him taking the Globe Drama and the BAFTA. But then Brendan Fraser took the Critics' Choice to stay in the game, and then he took the SAG right at the end, which really evened up the race. And when he won that SAG, I was like, oh my God, I have no idea what's going to happen. But upon reflecting on it, I do have one that I'm leaning toward, and I feel more confident in this than I do in my Best Actress pick. SAG do love giving it to a narrative, and I think almost every award they gave proved that. So it does make sense that Fraser won there. In fact, I probably would have predicted him if the Butler frenzy wasn't so strong, but I'm going to be predicting Austin Butler for the Oscar. I think it's really close, maybe 55-45, but there's just a few factors there, and that Best Actor rarely comes from a film that's not nominated for Best Picture, and The Whale is not, and it's generally not that well liked, even though I don't think The Whale's a good film, but I think it's a much better film than Elvis. But, the Academy loved Elvis, 8 nominations, Best Picture nomination. Even people who don't like the movie are highlighting his performance. I hate the movie, and I think he's really good in it. I still think he is the weakest of the 5 Best Actor nominees, but it's really just starting to feel like he's going to win. It'd be interesting. He'd be one of the youngest winners ever. I would really love to see Fraser beat him. I think it's a much better performance, but I'm picking Austin Butler here, and obviously Fraser is that runner-up. Who would I pick to win? Paul Mescal for After Sun, I think, is my favorite performance in that category. But look, it's an honor just to be nominated. Now we come to supporting actress, which is probably the toughest category to predict at these Oscars, and maybe the one I'm the most unsure of. Besides, there's one other tech category that I'm very 50-50 on, but supporting actress, it's not just a 2-horse race. It is a genuine 3-horse race, one that we haven't seen the likes of in an acting category in quite some time. And so Angela Bassett started out looking like a sweeper, winning the Globe and the Critics' Choice. But then Kerry Condon wins the BAFTA. And you could say that's a BAFTA thing because she's British, you know. I don't think they always go for the British person, but it does kind of help. But the thing is, they didn't pick Banshees for Best Picture, so, you know, it wasn't like an overwhelming swing of them just wanting to give the movie something. There's clearly something in that performance that people want to reward. So she kind of re-entered the race, and then we were kind of be like, well, let's just predict whoever wins SAG, Bassett or Condon. And Jamie Lee Curtis won that damn SAG award and blew the whole race wide open. And I think it's a really, really fun race. So you can make a case for all of them. Bassett, obviously, she's got the career narrative. You could argue that the Academy liked Wakanda Forever more than most other people. It didn't get a Best Picture nomination, but it got 4 tech nominations that it wasn't getting everywhere. The BAFTAs clearly didn't really like Black Panther Wakanda Forever. They barely nominated it for anything, so it makes sense that Bassett didn't win there. It's just that Globe and Critics' Choice isn't the most convincing combination, and SAG and BAFTA generally are more important when it comes to predicting who wins the Oscar in terms of acting. Kerry Condon really only won the BAFTA. I kept predicting her for stuff, and she just kept losing. And enter Jamie Lee Curtis, who, really didn't seem like she had a shot to win, but winning that SAG just blew everything up because it's not just that, oh, she won the SAG, she's in the race now. That speech she gave was amazing. And that's the thing, I don't think it's an award-worthy performance at all. In fact, I think if she wins, it'll be one of the weakest acting winners ever. I love her, Jamie Lee Curtis. I think she's great in the movie for what she's meant to be doing, but it baffles me that people think this is an Oscar-worthy performance, but people do. And she could win based on the strength of her campaign alone, which is insane because really I haven't seen anyone single out the performance as being their favorite, yet she won the SAG award. So this could happen, especially if the Oscars really want to go gaga over everything everywhere. But I just think a movie winning 3 of the 4 acting awards, you'd have to check when that happened last, but it must have been a while. And I don't see it winning 3. So basically, I think you've got Kwan, and then I think you're picking one of Yo and Curtis. And I'm picking Yo. So for supporting actress, I'm going with Kerry Condon. And it feels like that's who most people are going with, but again, it's kind of just I don't really know what to do, so I'll pick the BAFTA winner because they often pick the close races, and there's obviously some inherent bias there because I think she is by far the most deserving of the 3, and it's a performance that actually feels like it's an Oscar-winning performance. She's in pretty much the whole film. She has a lot of great dramatic scenes. She does a lot. She's funny. Her character's so lovable. Whereas Bassett and Curtis are more, as good as they are in their respective films, they do feel like more career narrative pushes, which is actually often the case with supporting actress. It's often a career award. And like I said, you can make a case for all of them. Like, I really thought Bassett's probably who I would put 3rd there, only because I thought she really needed the SAG. But then again, you had Regina King for Beale Street, not even get nominated for the SAG and still win the Oscar. But that film had screener issues, and we did see Bassett lose to Condon at the BAFTAs, so she's not unbeatable. This is a really, really tough one to pick, and I'm going with Condon. But I won't be surprised whoever gets read out. I'll be like, whoa, it'll be an insane moment no matter who wins. But going with Condon, with Jamie Lee Curtis, I think probably 2nd and Bassett 3rd, but it really could be any of the 3. Who would I vote for? Stephanie Hsu for Everything Everywhere All at Once, I think is the best performance in the category. Kerry Condon a very close second, but I just think I'm really baffled by the fact that people are voting for Jamie Lee Curtis over Stephanie Hsu, who in the same film I think is much better. But such is the nature of awards campaigning, and it's going to be so fascinating to see how this one plays out. Best Supporting Actor. I waffled on for quite long about the last few categories, so here I will simply say Ke Huy Quan is going to win. If you had to pick a runner-up, it's Barry Keoghan, but there's not going to be a runner-up. Ke Huy Quan has this in the bag, as he should. Best Adapted Screenplay is a bit of a tricky one, and it's kind of really two films that are such disparate cases, and we haven't seen them compete against each other in any precursor. So it's a really hard one to pick. But this one is between, I think, Women Talking and All Quiet on the Western Front. Women Talking squeezed into the 5 nominees at the Globes despite them not really going for the movie. It got into Screenplay despite only being nominated for that and Best Picture at the Oscars. So All Quiet, clearly the stronger film. Won Screenplay at the BAFTAs, but Women Talking wasn't nominated there, and the BAFTAs clearly just didn't like that film. So it's a really tough one because Women Talking is the more typical type of screenplay winner. It's a film that's about a dialogue, about a conversation, and it's really, really beautifully put together. All Quiet, I think it has a great script, but it's a war film and it's not typically a screenplay winner, and it's more minimalistic in the way it uses dialogue. So I'm basically weighing off what feels more like the screenplay winner. It won the Writers Guild. I know All Quiet wasn't nominated there, but I think Women Talking winning the Writers Guild over competition in films like Glass Onion, I think shows a bit of strength for it. And the Oscars nominated for Best Picture, which not a lot of other voting bodies did. So there's clearly some support in the Academy for that film. And I guess you're weighing that up against All Quiet, which is just the Best Picture movie. It's number 2 in Best Picture. It's a movie that they clearly like more than Women Talking, but I'm going to back them in to reward Sarah Polley. Sarah Polley is someone who so deserves an Oscar. And I think Women Talking is by far my favorite screenplay, not just of the nominees, but my favorite adapted screenplay of the year. I think it would be such a brilliant winner, such a great way to give Sarah Polley her Oscar. And that's the way I think it's going to go, and that's the way I hope it's going to go. All Quiet could easily be that runner-up, but I'm predicting Women Talking for adapted screenplay. Original screenplay is I'm pretty confident that it's going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once. I don't think it's a lock. I don't think it's super close, but I do think Banshees could take it. And if Banshees does take it on the night, we might be thinking, okay, do we have a race here? Maybe this means Michelle Yeoh loses, or maybe Banshees has a surprise upset for Best Picture. If it won Screenplay and Supporting Actress, I'd be like, whoa, I think its one win's going to be Supporting Actress, and it supports that like the last 8 Supporting Actress winners have been their film's sole win, which is a crazy stat. So I'm pretty confident with Everything Everywhere winning Screenplay here. Maybe it's not the most like Banshees. It feels like McDonagh's last screenplay race with Three Billboards Facing Off against Get Out, like the cooler, more modern movie that won the right precursors against McDonagh's, I guess, more traditional style of writing. And it's great. It's a flawless screenplay, but I just think Everything Everywhere is an absolute magic trick of film writing, and I think the awards we've seen so far are reflecting that, and the bodies that have been giving Banshee's screenplay are the ones that haven't been voting for Everything Everywhere in Best Picture. So I don't think Everything Everywhere has really lost against Banshees in places where it was winning Best Picture. So I think if Everything Everywhere is winning Best Picture like I think it is, I have to pick it for screenplay too, and I'm pretty confident in that. And obviously I think Everything Everywhere should win. It's my favorite screenplay of the year. Now we get into the tech categories. Best cinematography. I'm going with All Quiet on the Western Front here. Not only just based on the eye test, with Top Gun Maverick not being there, what else could it be? It easily has the best cinematography in this category. The potential spoiler here is Elvis. I know a lot of people are actually jumping ship to it because it won the Cinematographers Guild. But keep in mind that All Quiet wasn't eligible there. But I don't think it's impossible that Elvis takes this, only because, one, you've got a great narrative where you can give it to a female cinematographer. It sucks that that hasn't happened yet, and I really want it to happen, but please, just for any movie other than this, I don't think there's anything special about the cinematography in Elvis, whereas All Quiet really is a beautiful looking film, and I don't think it's going to have like a BAFTA level domination, but it's got to win some techs. And I think this is going to be one of them. And I think it deserves it. It would also get my vote for best cinematography here. Best costume design is a tough one. It's a 2-horse race. You could maybe borderline argue it's a 3-horse race if you really think Babylon has a shot. I wouldn't quite go that far. But I'm going to go with Elvis here. I think Elvis might finish the night being one of the most awarded movies, which is just really upsetting for me. But I don't know, there's a lot, you've got so many of Elvis's iconic outfits, and I know a lot of that is just recreating his outfits, but the Academy's full of boomers who love Elvis. I think this is going to get a lot of votes. So that's my prediction. I'll be predicting Elvis for costumes. I think Black Panther is the runner-up there. The first film won. Obviously, the love isn't as strong for this film, but I think it has some really, really impressive costume design. A lot of stuff that it brings that wasn't there in the first one as well. So I won't be shocked if Black Panther steals this, but if Elvis is as beloved within the Academy as I think it is, then I think it will take this one pretty confidently. What film would I give it to? Babylon, of course. Best film editing, the whole race, it was looking like Top Gun was just a no-brainer here, and I guess the push and pull here is going with the film that has swept the guilds, which is Everything Everywhere, versus the really, really consistent correlation between sound and editing going to the same film, which happens almost every year. And editing is a category that rarely has a sweeper. So Dune won editing last year, and I don't think it had won a single precursor, but it still won the editing Oscar because it won that sound Oscar. Those two just go, I think Sound of Metal won both. They're just two awards that always go hand in hand. But like I said, there's rarely a sweeper in the editing precursors, and Everything Everywhere has done just that. I know that and Top Gun both shared the editing guilds, like drama and comedy, but the big one for me is that Everything Everywhere won editing in the BAFTAs, and it was the only award it won at the BAFTAs. They clearly did not like that film, and they still gave it editing, which I think means it is really, really strong in there, and I think Top Gun should still get its win in the sound category. We'll get to that. I'm predicting that streak to be separated, and I think Everything Everywhere will get the editing award, with Top Gun being a very close second. And All Quiet didn't get the nomination here, which is really interesting, something I'll touch on when I talk about sound. But I think Everything Everywhere would be the deserving winner. I think it's an incredible feat of editing. How they even made that movie cohesive is insane. And I really, really hope that it gets the gong here, as I think it will. Next up, we've got Best Makeup and Hairstyling, a film that I think it's a 2-horse race, but I think makeup usually correlates with Best Actor when there are Best Actor contenders that have a lot of makeup, like Chastain winning, Gary Oldman, I think, for Darkest Hour. So I'm going with Elvis here again. I think it's going to win some tech awards, and I think Austin Butler's winning Best Actor, and there's a lot of makeup in that film. I don't think the Tom Hanks makeup is very good, but you've got like the Elvis makeup toward the end of the film, and I just think that it's been winning most of the precursors. I think The Whale's probably won a couple. But yeah, if you think Butler's winning actor, predict Elvis. If you're like confident that Fraser's winning actor, go with The Whale. So if we're early in the night and we see The Whale win makeup, that could be very interesting. It could mean we're seeing a little bit of an upset in Best Actor, but I'm pretty confident that Elvis wins this, and I think it could still win it even if Fraser won Best Actor, if that makes sense. What would I vote for? I'd actually vote for the Batman here. I think the makeup in The Whale is really impressive, but the one that really disappears for me is Colin Farrell's Penguin makeup, whereas The Whale, I'm like, oh, wow, that's an impressive transformation. But with the Batman, I'm like, wow, he just disappeared. I do not see Colin Farrell here at all, which I think was a really, really seamlessly done. But I would also vote for The Whale over Elvis. I don't love the makeup in that film. I think it draws too much attention to itself, but, that's just me. I'm the Elvis hater. Best production design. Now, my baby Babylon, I think if it wins anything, it's this, and it's best shot at an Oscar. And I'm actually really confident that Babylon takes production design, despite the Academy clearly not liking the movie that much. So It's won every precursor, basically. It won the Production Designers Guild. I believe it won the Critics' Choice. It won the BAFTA. The BAFTA hated the movie, and it still won the BAFTA. So I think Babylon is going to take this one. Old Hollywood movies, I've been saying all season, old Hollywood movies always take production design, and it's looking like this is no different. It would be a really, really deserving winner. If I had to pick a runner-up, it's probably Elvis, even though I think All Quiet would be the more logical choice. It's a war movie. I think it's more impressive, but, you know, Elvis has been winning some production design awards too, I think, and people just seem to really be going gaga over that film in the text. So if the Academy decide they really just hate Babylon, Elvis could be the one, but I'm pretty confident Babylon takes this one, and deservedly so, of course. Now, Best Original Score, the category that I'm going to be the most upset about if my pick doesn't win, and this is maybe the hardest category for me to predict here. Like, it's a genuine 50-50 for me between Babylon and All Quiet on the Western Front, and Babylon, really all it has going for it is the Golden Globe win, and you have to take that Golden Globe win with a grain of salt, because Justin Hurwitz has won a Golden Globe every single time he was nominated. He's won 3 Golden Globes, which is insane. So they clearly love him, and the Oscars don't love him. They didn't nominate him for First Man. I know he got in here, but he's not as a sure thing at the Oscars as he is at the Globes, and that's the only thing that... also, the Globes liked Babylon a lot more than everyone else. They actually nominated it in Comedy Picture and a couple other categories, so they liked Babylon. They didn't love it, but they liked it. Whereas the Oscars, I think, feel the 3 nominations it got just kind of feel obligatory. It doesn't feel like there's passion there for the film. Whereas All Quiet, again, didn't get any precursor nominations because the film broke into the race so late, but it won the BAFTA. But this is just about how much do we want to read into it winning the BAFTA, solidifying it as the favorite, or was it just going along with that BAFTA package because they loved the film and gave it pretty much every single award possible? It's really, really hard for me to say. All it really lost were editing and production design, which I think are sure things. So if Babylon had won the score at the BAFTA, I'd be more inclined. But I think this is just a flat 50-50. And one thing that makes me want to pick Babylon is it's weird. It's not something you should predict Oscars by, but it's just how good it is. And not just how good it is, how memorable it is. As great as the First Man score was, it's not the earworm that the Babylon score is. And I think even people who don't like the movie come out highlighting how good and entertaining and memorable the score was. So my head says Western Front. My heart says Babylon. As they converge and me looking ahead in the future, I'm picking Babylon. I know most people in the know are picking Western Front here, and I think that's probably the logical, safer pick, but I'm picking Babylon because I don't know what to do if it doesn't win. I'm going to break something. I'm going to be very upset. It's going to be a terrible decision. So I honestly kind of just think it's that good that it has to win. But, you know, we know the Oscars don't go for what's good. Don't get me wrong, All Quiet's a very, very good score. I really, really like it. Everything Everywhere would probably be my next favorite in the category, and if they want to do a full sweep on that, I would sign off on that a little bit. But yeah, I think it'd be a travesty if Babylon doesn't win, so I'm picking it. This is my most biased pick here, but hey, if I'm right, I'll look pretty smart, won't I? Best Original Song, extremely confident this is going to be Naatu Naatu. You could argue that you've got the Top Gun song being your Best Picture winner, or you've got the Rihanna Lift Me Up being Rihanna Big Celebrity, and it's a tribute to Chadwick Boseman, but they really haven't gone for Black Panther Wakanda Forever outside of a couple of categories. So I'm pretty confident Naatu Naatu is going to win here. It won the Globe. I'm pretty sure it won Critics' Choice and BAFTA if they even do those categories. Point is, it's won a lot of the precursors. Lift Me Up hasn't really won anything, ditto for the other nominees. So I think Naatu Naatu is the logical pick here, and it would be a great way for them to award RRR. If I had to pick a runner-up, it's probably Lift Me Up from Black Panther, but Naatu Naatu would be what I'd vote for in this category too. I'm very excited to see that performed on stage. Best Sound is closer than I would have said a month ago. I'm predicting Top Gun Maverick. It feels like the no-brainer. It's one of the only categories that I would actually nominate Top Gun Maverick in terms of text. It's incredible. It has incredible sound, and they often go for vehicles in sound. It's got all the fighter jets. They like vehicle noises in sound, like 4v Ferrari, stuff like that. So I think it's still a good pick to win. There are so many categories where I'm like, All Quiet could win this, but will it? So I think All Quiet is that runner-up and potential spoiler, and I think this is a bit closer than some of the other races like Screenplay. I would say probably I'm like 65% leaning toward Top Gun here. And again, I guess my predictions on the whole are hinged on All Quiet underperforming a little bit. I still think it's going to win a few things, but I don't have it being the sweeper that it was at the BAFTAs. So I think with sort of this, with score and with adapted screenplay, they're sort of ones where you kind of maybe want to go all or nothing in terms of the All Quiet basket, because if they really do love it as much as the BAFTAs did, it could genuinely upset and win all three of those. But I'm sticking with Top Gun here. I think it'll be kind of shocking if it ends up winning nothing at the end of the day, and I think sound is easily its best shot. What do I want to win? I would vote for the Batman here. Top Gun would be close, as would All Quiet, but the Batman, I think, has brilliant sound design, like the Batmobile chase and everything, the way it creates its tone in its world. I'm just a big fan of that film on a technical level as a whole. Best visual effects. Avatar: The Way of Water. What could win? Nothing. It's Avatar. Nothing will beat nothing. And deservedly so. Avatar has the best visual effects of the year. End of discussion. Best animated feature. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. End of discussion. Puss in Boots I'd put second, and I want that to win because it's like amazing and a much better film, but Pinocchio has won everything. It's going to win. Best documentary feature, I think it's going to be Navalny. It didn't emerge as the frontrunner until late, and documentary is a really tough category to predict. Like, there are always upsets in this category. So if you're looking for a spoiler, I would look toward either Fire of Love or All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. Fire of Love has won more bigger awards, and it's the more crowd-pleasy sort of one, and bigger technically, but All the Beauty and the Bloodshed is the critics' favorite. I haven't seen it yet. It just came out here, so I'm hopefully going to be seeing it the next few days. But as it stands, Navalny is what I picked to win, and it's also what I would be voting for out of the three I've seen in the category so far. Best international feature, All Quiet on the Western Front. No foreign film that has been nominated for Best Picture has ever lost this award. So I don't see that changing here. All Quiet will win this. If you had to pick a runner-up, it's Argentina 95, but how weird would that be if that won? And then what I'll vote for, of course, The Quiet Girl, which is my second favorite film of the year. Now, the short categories, I haven't done as much research on these as I usually do, but I'm mostly going to defer with what is the consensus favorite here. And I've provided like a second option if you want to go for a left field pick. For animated short, I've gone with The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. It's really accessible. It's really easy to watch. It's being campaigned really hard. And also it's based on like a very well-known children's book. So I think it has all that going for it. Kids films don't always win this, and that's why my runner-up, I think, is My Year of Dicks. Yes, part of that is based on how fucking great the title is, but also people are really liking the film. It seems like a very fun, like female-centered tale. And also Ice Merchants people really, really love, but I'm going with The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse here. Documentary short, I'm going with The Elephant Whisperers. Just seems to be the consensus favorite based on what most people are saying. Again, I haven't gotten around to seeing them yet, unfortunately. For a potential spoiler, I just want to throw in Haul Out. It was one that barely scraped into the nominations in terms of not being likely, but it's a film that the people who have seen it really love. So that's my like left field pick, but I will be predicting The Elephant Whisperers. And then live action short, I'm kind of 50-50 between La Pupille and An Irish Goodbye. They seems to be the ones that are sticking out. I'm going with La Pupille as the consensus favorite, But Irish Goodbye would be an equally good pick because honestly, these categories there are usually surprises, and at least one of them's going to pull something from the bottom of the pack. But I'm playing it safe this year in the short categories. And that is it for my Oscar predictions. Thank you very much for watching. Again, no super crazy left field picks. If you watch other Oscar prediction YouTubers, you're not really going to learn anything here that you didn't already know. But that being said, I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I hope I gave you some sort of help or clarity with picking your Oscars, whether you just want to, win your pool and beat your coworkers or your friends, or you want to win on Gold Derby. I think this is a pretty solid list, but with how many categories are up in the air, I think there are a lot where you could there's 2 or 3 films you could choose and maybe get a leg up by picking something left field. So it's going to be a really, really fun Oscars. I'm definitely going to try my best to film reactions to them. I didn't last year because it's tough when I'm usually watching them with a group of people, but I'm going to try and film reactions for them this year. Because there's gonna be some crazy moments, I'm sure. I don't think anyone's gonna get slapped live on stage, but that's probably never gonna be topped in terms of crazy moments. But in terms of the actual awards, I hope we see some surprises. I hope we see a good ceremony, and I hope they let the fucking winners speak. I don't care about all your superfluous bullshit. Let the winners speak. I want to hear them, especially with these smaller categories, like the short categories. This is the biggest moment of these people's careers. Don't play them off, you fucks. Beyond that, I just want to say subscribe to this channel for more movie reviews and other related content. I was over in Perth and I caught up with my good friend Jaron Heron last week, who, big friend of the channel, used to appear in a lot of my videos. We used to do a podcast together. We filmed a special awards video where we discuss our combined awards, what we would give. So look out for that within the next week. It may come after the Oscar reactions, just depends how long it takes me to edit that one. And I also want to, once again, shout out my friends over at the League of Cinephiles. There'll be a link to their channel in the description. I'm now hosting a monthly show there where we discuss directors' filmographies. The last one was on Billy Wilder, and it was a really great time. So definitely check that one out if you want to hear more me talking about film. I don't know why, there's enough of it on this channel already. And I'll also say follow me on Instagram at Jacob Watches Films. That link will be in the description. I post a lot of movie related content on there, and I'm currently rolling out my own personal film awards if I pick the Oscars. So we're nearly done with year in review, and I can finally begin focusing on 2023 and start reviewing some new releases. But as always, thank you so much for joining me today. Good luck with your Oscar predictions, and yeah, hopefully we get a good show. Have a good one.